The poo.
The poo. Slushy time.
Slushy time. You good?
I'm good, man.
What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Jim Green. Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the One Set Podcast. We are in the pool for another episode today.
Dude, this is the end of summer episode. We're literally at episode 90.
90.
Crazy.
That much closer to 100.
Crazy to think that we did this episode a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year we did the pool episode early
July.
July, yeah. We're literally at the end of August now. And this is going to post, I think, just
mid-September
or late. So this is literally like our end of summer send off before we transition into all the fun fall things that we are. I mean, I can't wait to just throw on a hoodie and be like, oof, here we go.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
Early fall is cool. It's just when it gets way too cold. I think I've said it before on the podcast too. Like, I think if I had to do like a coldness type of level, I think it's fall because it's still, you know, not like it's sweatshirt weather, like you said. Yeah. So I'm a fan of like, you know, a sweatshirt and shorts.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like mid-October to mid-December are decent because it can still be summer hot, early October, and then it can get winter cold.
Yeah.
End of December. So I'm like, those 2 month time span is like,
it changes a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're during the summer, you have like a good span of like hot weather, and today has been like almost like a good summer day. I mean, it's still like humid, and you know, when it gets towards like September, October, that's when it really starts changing into like, you know, below 60.
Yeah.
And
I know we talked about this, I think, on the last summer episode where like my dad loves to open the pool towards Memorial Day weekend, like the end of May. And then he keeps it open until the second weekend of October. And he's like, yeah, my men at work go on about your pool's still open. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's still 92 degrees outside October 2nd. And he's like, my pool's still open.
Yeah.
So
pansies.
I'm like, yeah, my dad know what's up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So,
I forget when we used to really close ours. Like, I think it was probably around this time, like August, September. Like, we didn't really go towards October, but yeah, like we stopped really going in the pool around this time because it like, again, at that time we were kids, like it started getting cold. Like, it seemed like it started getting a little bit colder, like around that time. But now it doesn't seem like until like October you really start getting like a really cold.
I think instead of depending on like, because of the region that we live in, like it's more so cycling and regimenting like you as kids, like, hey, school's out, summer starts, school goes back, all the summer things. Okay, cut. And then you need to get focused on your schoolwork, your grades,
right,
and the things like that, you know? So
and that's why I always hated my birthday when I was a kid, because I felt like after my birthday, it was like, okay, back to school. Like, everything started going back to school, and like I couldn't really enjoy, like I can enjoy the moment, but I was like, I know after this I have to start getting ready for school. So it's like, you know, you have like that one day to really be happy, but then you're like, it's one more day closer to school.
Yeah. And I mean, not for nothing, but you having a summer birthday, like both of my nieces, they have, one is mid to late June and one is the very end of August. Those birthdays, like trying to get friends together then, because people are just vacationing all the time.
Yeah, it was like, definitely tough.
It's you have to plan ahead for it so that, you know, if you have someone that is out of town, like because they pre-planned a year ahead of time, like, yeah, no, we're going to Indonesia,
right?
Because people go to Indonesia for summer vacations around here. I mean, if you do, you do, but I've actually never heard of that one. So that's why I just pulled it out of thin air. I don't know. So this episode 90, we are talking about things from the 90s. 15, top 15. And just to put this out there, we recorded the first 4 for an hour and the audio got lost.
Yeah,
so if we
were
blitz
so
through this, we're a little ticked. Okay.
little bit, a little tad. We went through a whole shindig. I think it was about like almost a little over a half hour, and we're like, I think we need to check this thing.
I was like, wait, is my mic on? And then it wasn't just my mic being off. Anthony tested the audio and was like, we got nothing here.
Nothing.
So,
zero.
If you ever heard of bad lip reads, look out for that coming up.
Yeah.
And then we'd love to hear your versions of us talking. That'll
be a cool thing.
Really
That'll
fun.
be up on the Patreon if so.
Absolutely.
For you free tier people.
Yep. Number 1, Nickelodeon ruled television in the 90s.
Facts.
Okay, so we talk about target audience here. If you were born after the 90s, we would love you to understand how our culture was in our time growing up.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, it's not like, oh, we're just dissing you, right?
But you missed a good era of Nickelodeon.
You miss, I mean, for me.
Like from what, like 7 a.m. till, the evening, there was like,
I mean,
bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb.
Dude,
shows.
the weekend morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Just waking up and being, and just sitting there, like our parents thrived on that because they were like, cool, our kids are shutting the fuck up right now.
Yeah. Sit in front of the TV and shut the fuck
up. Wow. I mean, what's your favorite Nickelodeon show? Because I know mine immediately. I have like really, really close seconds, but
like classics. If we're talking like classic ones,
I just know mine.
Name a lot. I could name like 5 that were like classics. I mean, you got Doug, Rugrats, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Pete and Pete. What were some others that were? I didn't really watch Clarissa Explains It All too much.
So, are we talking about early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s? Because we can say if it started in the late 90s and trickled into early 2000s, that's allowed. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, Hey Arnold
Arnold was a good one. Yeah,
it is good. It's on the list. Okay. I feel like they accommodated.
Hey Arnold was a good one.
Yeah, they accommodated diversity. I think I think it was trying to base itself out of New York, and it was talking about young kids, older people, everybody of different backgrounds, kids this age, kids this age. I think that they really did a great job of saying, oh, every kid is weird and every kid is also awesome at the same time. Right. So I feel like that's why I gravitated towards that, because I was in the phase of being like the only male dancer. I know I've talked about this like endlessly, but I think that that's why I resonated with that show. But Rugrats was my number 1 show. I think as a child in elementary school, I was like, this is my Nickelodeon show. It was Rugrats. And I mean, before that, I think we talked about Barney was my show.
I think Barney was everybody's, but that wasn't Nickelodeon, but still like
it was
a big like early childhood TV show for sure.
I'm talking about my life in the early 90s. Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean,
Barney,
we have to talk about Guts. I mean, Guts was I wanted to be on that show. I mean, every kid wanted to be on that show.
I mean, you're talking about 90s game show.
Nick Arcade, but that was like a early like 7 a.m. show. That was pretty cool. That was always a cool one. But
Double Dare.
I
mean, I think Double Dare was out in like the late 70s, early 80s, but like when it got to the 90s, it felt very 90s. Like they transitioned
I think
it
they
into
definitely
the era
like boomed
very well.
They definitely boomed in the 90s. But yeah, I think it was like a 80s. It started in the 80s, I think.
Legends of the Hidden Temple, man.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. How fun was that show?
Who didn't want to be on that show?
Come on.
Yeah,
sitting there as a kid is like, ooh. Like you should show Lil Tone that show. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
How cool is that?
I mean, they don't have shows like that anymore. Like,
no,
they have shows like that. I mean, they have game shows, but nothing like that.
All right, Anth, we got to talk about Liquid IV here, the #1 powered hydration brand in America, now available sugar-free with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, plus all the 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone. I know for me, with teaching, being active in the dance field, it has definitely made my job a lot easier. I feel not like a dried up sponge. Like I feel so hydrated and so good about myself using Liquid IV. Anth, how do you feel about it?
Hey, I'm right there with you, man. Being a dad, a musician, we don't always think about hydration being our #1 thought all the time. So making sure you're hydrated is definitely key. And Liquid IV, like we said, hydrates you 2 times faster than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks, plus 8 vitamins, the nutrients for everyday wellness. It's just convenient. I cannot rave about it enough.
One of my favorite things about Liquid IV is just the convenience of it. I mean, I'm on my way to work. I got my bottle of water. I just rip open Liquid IV pack, drop the stick in, and I am twice as hydrated rather than just drinking water alone.
And the flavors, man. We got to talk about the flavors. They just came out with 3 new flavors: white peach, green grape, and my favorite personally, the lemon lime.
And we love the tangerine flavor. It's so good. It is just like summer right there in a nutshell.
And one of the best things, there's no artificial sweeteners and 0 sugar with a proprietary amino acid allulose blend for a sweet taste without the calories or raised blood glucose levels you get from sugar.
Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation for a healthier world. They partner with leading organizations to fund and foster innovative solutions that help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world. Get 20% off when you grab your Liquid IV hydration multiplier sugar-free or any other variant at liquidiv.com and use our code OneSetPod. That is the number 1 set pod at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code OneSetPod at liquidiv.com.
Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply 1 click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layer backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
You know what we had in middle school? And this is a show I remember. Oh, geez. And this is where Nickelodeon capitalized on kids being home during the summer. If you didn't go to day camp, which I didn't, and I don't think you did either. No. We grew up on Stickly here.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. Stickly, right? Figure It Out.
Figure It Out was a good one.
That was
late 90s, I think, right?
We were in middle school.
Yeah. So that was a late 90s one. But yeah, that was cool because then you got a lot of the people from all that and everything that appeared on the show, and a lot of it was more like
what was his
finding
name?
your whole celebrities and everything.
Danny Tamberelli, I think his name was.
So, yeah.
He had a name that just rolled off the tongue, and I was like, that is so genius. I wonder what he's doing right now.
I wonder.
I'm not gonna look it up. We'll look it up another time. Or if you're
watching, and we know that you are,
let us let us know in the comments. What's up, man? Okay, let's get on to the next one. So Nickelodeon ruled as number 1.
Comment below what your favorite Nickelodeon show was.
Please, we'd love to hear it. I mean, Doug to me, I was just like, he's
You
like,
can relate to Doug.
I
mean,
was
everybody
like,
could.
oh, he's kind of corny.
Whoopsie. Yeah, but he was a cool, corny kid.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, he's getting picked on by Roger Klotz. Like, come on, he's green. Like,
Yeah, I mean.
Oh wait, so am I.
Oh wait. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, next.
Okay, cut. Oh, my phone is being weird because I had the phone turned sideways.
Of course.
Which I didn't ask it to be. Because, like, you know the setting where it's like, hey, landscape portrait?
Yeah,
like,
that you
no.
can stop it from going portrait mode.
Close off. Wow, this is really CBing me right now. Okay.
But no, I mean, Nickelodeon was like
Thank you.
the pinnacle of the 90s. Like, you know, especially like commercials and everything. That's where you got a lot of your big toys from. I mean, in between shows, you had, you know, toys after toy commercial and all this other stuff. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure our parents halfway went broke just because of the half of the stuff that we saw on those commercials. Like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that.
Dude, can we talk about, like, everyone that got slimed and how much we as kids were like,
I want to be slimed.
yeah, seriously. All right, number 2, and this is going to be a shorter conversation for me at least. Number 2 is the Mickey Mouse Club featuring future superstars such as Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, and like I didn't have the Disney Channel, so I
didn't really watch it.
I didn't see them on the Mickey Mouse Club like that.
No,
so
I really didn't watch it too much, but know of how the importance of it was back then.
I heard the story about how they got their start kind of there as like childhood stars. And, and then, you know, we watched that over time. Selena Gomez, what's her name?
Was Ariana Grande on there too, or
yeah?
Okay,
I think Demi Lovato too.
Demi
Maybe
Lovato.
I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we're totally out of tune in that era of like the mid 2000s to like the mid 2010s, because we're a little older, maybe cue us in on that. Who was like TV stars in that time that rose to stardom? Miley Cyrus. Like,
there you go.
Come on, that's a good one because Hannah Montana.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
definitely.
All right. Number 3. Furbies were impossible to get. Okay, so we were talking about this right before we lost the audio in the last recording about how in the 90s, you know, parents for the holidays had to go do the Black Friday thing and wait overnight to get the it toy, because if they didn't get it, they were a bad parent or Santa was a bad Santa.
Yeah.
And
you were definitely in some trouble
about that.
You were definitely in some trouble.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, I wasn't the biggest Furby fan. I was more on the Tamagotchi side with the, you know, the animatronic or digital pets and everything. So that was a big thing.
Your parents were like advanced.
Yeah. So they're like, well, we can't afford a Furby, but here's this little fake ass pet for you. You know?
So I didn't get a Tamagotchi. I got a Giga pet. So
that's what I had, Giga pet.
Oh, you had a Giga pet too?
I was thinking it wasn't a Tamagotchi. It was a Giga pet, I think.
So this is gonna call out how much of a not man I am. My Giga pet wound up with angel wings one day, and I cried. I was scared of what it was. I was like, is this Satan or is it dead? I didn't know, and I was just perplexed, like, what is happening here? And then
I'm a total failure.
I was like, I hit feed when it said hungry.
Yeah.
I hit the button. But
I got wings.
But they were also like, hey, this is what life is.
Where's Red Bull when you need it?
Gives you wings?
Yeah. Zing.
Zing har. Wow, this is fun. Okay. Yeah, so Gigapet was my thing. I knew like friends like, okay, this is the equivalent to you showing okay, and I mean we're in our mid-30s. We're talking to whoever our target audience is. So maybe I'll speak to my eldest sister here who has nieces, and she's in her early 40s, and they're going into 5th and 7th grade. When they're sending their kids to school with a not iPhone, and the kids around them are like, "Oh, you don't have an iPhone? Poo poo, you're not even cool."
Like, oh, you're not.
I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a Giga Pet," and they're like, "What's that?" It's not a Tamagotchi.
Right.
Not cool.
Not cool. Yeah.
Legitimately, I was like, yeah, well, I danced so I'm already not cool. It's fine.
might as well just add to it. I mean,
yeah.
But I feel like when you were a kid, if you had like the Tamagotchi, that pretty much showed how responsible you were as a kid. Like if you can keep a digital pet alive, you're pretty set in your ways. I mean,
yeah, until you get into drug addiction and alcoholism, and then you have kids, and you're like, wait,
what happened to you? Like,
I my Tamagotchi. Why are my kids friggin' up in school?
Yeah, well, I had a Tamagotchi. He kind of passed away, so I mean, I'm just gonna start sipping this wine here. And it all went downhill from there, man. I went on a 6-month bender.
All right, number 4, McDonald's invited people to supersize their meals. Okay, this was where we started drawing off because I
mentioned the playgrounds that, it's one thing we had the and you made a good point. I'll let you bring that back into play, but
sure.
Like with the biggie sizes and like maximizing your things with McDonald's. But the thing that back then with McDonald's was the playgrounds that
it was
other than having the meal.
Like parents would just take
get
the
kids
food
to
the fast food place and
they
be
would
like,
go to the
go on the playground
while I get the
get
food
something to eat. This is your lunch, and also go pee in the ball pit. And I don't have to clean it up. It's fine.
I don't have to clean it up. It's all good. I mean, Burger King did the same thing, but I think McDonald's had the one up on the playgrounds.
I mean, for me, where I lived, there was a McDonald's over here. They tore it down after I went to middle school, which I was pretty upset about because it was like, childhood right over there. They had the best playground, by the way.
I think the one in Brookhaven. I mean,
it still has one.
It does. I don't think does it. I know it's still there. I don't think they have the playground. They used to have a pretty sick playground. Even the Burger King near my house had a pretty sick playground when we were kids.
So Burger King in my town is now a Taco Bell. It's
right.
Fun.
Yeah.
Wendy's has never had a playground as far as I knew. It was just like, no, we're not about that. We're about quality food.
Yeah.
Which and for me, and like I said, I grew up closest to a Wendy's, so that was kind of like my parents' go-to. And I was just like, their chicken nuggets, they actually have full-fledged chicken, like the whatever they use for the breading on the chicken nuggets was always for me like, yeah. Granted, I'll go to McDonald's right now, but I'll get a Big Mac. Like I'll get like a sandwich. Their fries are great. I can't tell you the last time I've had Burger King. It's been forever for me. So
I've had it recently here and there, but
you also live near one. Like you have one kind of readily accessible.
It's been going back. I don't really have McDonald's anymore. It's either been going back and forth between if I have to have a fast food burger place and it's close, it's been either Wendy's or Burger King. I haven't really. I can't remember the last time I touched McDonald's.
Your Wendy's, you have to kind of go out of your way.
A little bit, because it's a Wendy's, and there's a Taco Bell, KFC.
Your Burger King's right there, but you pass a Wawa, so
yeah. So you have a lot of options.
Do you go to Wawa first?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, if before those, you got to go to Wawa. Yeah. But
I mean.
And if you guys are listening outside of the
Wawa territory,
you guys are like, what the fuck is a Wawa? I mean, if you haven't experienced, you're probably like, oh, we have Sheets. I mean, yeah, you guys are cool. We've been I think we've both been to Sheets. We've the only thing I haven't really explored was the Royal Farms. I think you have done Royal Farms before, so I can't concur on how good Royal Farms is. I've heard good things about it, but I still think Wawa is Mecca.
Yeah, I mean, I was teaching down in Baltimore, which I've talked about on here before, and they had you had to go out of your way for Wawa and Sheets. Like you had to go up the main highway to get to one of them, but like right on the road that my studio was at, they had a Royal Farms. So the one I stopped in there and I grabbed chicken. It was overpriced for the quality that was offered. So I was just like,
do they sell alcohol at Royal Farms?
It depends on the state that you're in, but
okay.
I think down here they have beer and wine. I think down there they had it, but you know, when Royal Farms came into our territory, they like their biggest thing was they were known for how good their chicken was. And the first time that I had their chicken, it was not good.
Not that great.
So I just kind of
overhyped.
was like, nope. I just cut
Overhyped.
it out immediately.
Gotcha.
I was like, I'll get chicken at Wawa. Or I'll,
Yeah.
when I'm in Sheets territory, which is an hour and a half northwest of where I live, there is one at the cabin that Cheyenne and I go to. There's two. And we stopped at the first one the one time, and I ordered a chicken sandwich, and it tastes like rubber. And I was like, not from here again. But the second one never fails, never disappoints. And I told her after that, I was like, I'm never getting the chicken sandwich from the first one ever again.
Let's do a short thing. Like, have you ever had a meal where it was so good that you try to order it again and it was bad, but then after that you try to order it again to try to get that same first good like feeling? Like, I know this thing, like I feel the same way right now with Wawa's new pizza that they did. The first time I had it was amazing.
Okay.
The second time I had it, it was a little burnt, and I'm like, I mean, it was overburnt a little bit, and now I'm just like, it's almost like a drug addict. Now I'm chasing that first like bite. I'm trying to get to that euphoria of that first bite feeling again.
Okay. So I haven't had the Wawa pizza yet.
I'm gonna let you talk, and I'm gonna do that.
Do the same thing. Just cool off. I have not had the Wawa pizza yet. I keep seeing it, but I keep seeing it either I just had pizza recently, and I'm like, no. I treat myself to pizza maybe once every couple of weeks. So if I have it, or if I get a large pizza and I have leftovers, and then I either eat the remainders the next day or the day after, I say, okay, 2 more weeks, pizza. Because I try not to eat pizza too frequently.
Yeah, I try not to either.
Well, yeah.
It's so good, though.
It's so good. I mean, it's...
So, again, especially when you have a good pizza pie, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where, like, I think for dinner today, I might go get a Wawa pizza just to be able to say, next time we chat, like, hey, I had the Wawa pizza.
Have you had it yet, though?
No.
Okay. So
but
I would
have
definitely
options.
They do.
I did explore on the menu. I was in there during the dinner time the one time, and I was like, all right, let's see what they offer. And it's not just like cheese pizza.
Yeah, I mean, they have a couple options. So I think the first time I've only done the cheese, but I definitely want to explore the other kind of options. But I like how they give you a couple of the options in order so it's not just cheese pizza. I mean, I'm not too big into pepperoni, but I mean, I'll have it if it's the only one there. But yeah, we're it looks like according to what Jen was texting me earlier, we're gonna go Chinese tonight.
Nice.
So Chinese is definitely something we've been kind of getting back into.
Got to talk about that real quick. I will say, to answer your question,
we're in a foodie mood, people.
We're in a foodie moody.
Foodie moody.
Okay.
Stupid.
Speaking of that was a little stupid. Speaking of Wawa, the first time that they introduced the grilled chicken, I got a grilled chicken sandwich on a regular bun. I customized it to my liking, and I ate it, and I was like, this is so great. And then they started cutting them up and offering them on like the hoagie rolls.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it was. Maybe I just got a bad order of chicken, but I had ordered like a chicken sandwich on a classic roll from Wawa, like grilled chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And I bit into it. I was like, this is not the same.
Right.
And then I was like, let me see if it was the roll's fault and how they cut it up. And I just got the regular chicken sandwich again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, see, this is bomb. That's the thing that really clicked in my head when you said that. And I was like, that's the one for me.
And that's the other thing too, like having a meal that like you see and you're like, oh, that is going to be awesome. But then like how
it's going to hit the spot.
but then when you get it, it's like, didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Have had a lot of fast food meals that are like that. I'm trying to think. It may have been like a Taco Bell thing that I saw, and I'm like, oh, that looks really good. I'm gonna try that. Didn't like it.
See, Taco Bell is a very 50-50 thing for me. And honestly, I order the same thing there every time because I know it hits every time.
What's your order?
It's I think the number 6. It's the 2 chalupas, and I get beef supreme, and I get a hard shell taco, and I get a Baja Blast, and that's
So you're
my
a hard
order.
shell taco, dude.
I am.
I'm soft shell.
So the thing with that is, and this is PTSD from when I was a child, was I got a soft shell taco, I didn't eat it, and then I went to nuke it up the next day. Soggy.
Whoopsie.
So now I'm like,
I'll give you that.
I'm like, I can't do because sometimes I'll eat one chalupa and be like, okay, am I tackling the taco next and saving the second chalupa? Or am I eating the second chalupa and saying, hey, if I'm a little hungry, I'll save the taco? So for me, the hard shell taco is a move because it is better after the fact. The soft shell tacos, absolutely not. You have to eat them immediately or else you're done.
Just thought of a meal, but I'll let you finish.
I was just going to say you're eating basically wet laundry at that point.
Yeah, that is a downfall to the soft tacos.
Yeah,
you have a good window of time where you got to eat them. If it's not a good leftover thing. That there you go. So where hard shell, it's not going to let you down.
Yeah,
but I've never got into the hard shells. I'm just not like. I mean, I get like. Never really got into them too much. I was always a soft shell person. But going back,
are you a chips and salsa kind of guy?
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's almost like having like a nacho, which I'm okay with. But I never liked having
in the taco fashion. You're like burrito wrap.
Give me that softie.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, jeez.
So,
going back into what I was saying about having a meal that you thought was bomb, but then you had it and was like, oh, this is whoopsie. The Taco Bell one that was like I think it was like the steak burrito. It had like steak, cheese, and a couple other things. I saw it in a commercial. I'm like, gotta have that. And I had it. I was like, this sucks.
I will.
And again, I'm like, I usually try it for a second time. I'm like, maybe the first time you just had a bad batch of it. Because you never know. Maybe somebody didn't cook the steak the right way.
Yeah,
or
maybe somebody effed up. Because
again,
possible.
Again,
human error.
Quality, quantity. Maybe there was more cheese than needed to be. There was more steak or not enough steak. Like, so maybe I'll try it one more time. But at that point, I'm like, it just it throws you off. You're like, okay, I was so hyped for it. I was so let down that it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I mean,
what a softie.
We're on number 4 of 15. So hope you're all enjoying this. This is going to be a long one. Yeah, that's what she said. The only other thing I'll say that I've had from Taco Bell that I'm like, okay, I shouldn't say that. I was going through a major health kick where I'm like, I'm only eating healthy foods.
Mm-hmm.
And I researched, okay, what are the healthiest things to get at fast food restaurants, which is kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Right. But
there are healthy options.
If you're going,
you have to kind of like sway it a little bit.
You're going to say, I'm going to pick the best thing for me rather than the best thing for me. Right? So I don't know if they still do it, but I used to get the 3 taco meal. Because they have like a 3 taco meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I said healthy. I would still get a Baja Blast because
whoopsie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're going to need to blur that finger.
I was all about the cheesy gordita crunch. That was my whoopsie.
I'm getting to the thing. So they had these fresco tacos, which they would do with pico de gallo, clean. And I would get steak fresco tacos, and apparently it was the lowest calorie for the highest protein content.
Right.
No sour cream, no cheese.
Okay.
And I would eat it and be like, I feel good. I don't feel
you're full,
like a piece of crap.
Right.
Yeah. And then I would get, and I don't order this, but I've had friends of mine that swear by the infamous Crunchwrap Supreme. And I take a bite into that, and whatever they do to the sauce, it's like marrying, what is it, like French dressing and ketchup
Yeah.
or mayonnaise.
Yeah.
It's like the Good Burger secret sauce. If you want to talk about the 90s, we're talking about Good Burger secret sauce
Good Burger
right here.
secret sauce. Yeah.
I
We
swear-
still don't know what the f is.
Only Ed knows.
Maybe only Ed knows what.
And Keenan's like, what?
I'm pretty stoked for the second one. I hope it lives up to
I mean,
the thing. I mean, I haven't seen a good sequel of a good movie like that that's lived up to like, oh, the second really made it really good. I haven't had a good movie like that yet.
I mean, there's one sequel that comes to mind. There's two. I shouldn't lie about it. There's a sequel that is really good, but I feel like it didn't tie into the first movie. It basically just said, okay, the first movie happened, now all of this is happening, rather than a sequel is supposed to basically really build off that first movie. So I'm talking about Batman Begins goes into The Dark Knight, which I feel like they're two, and maybe it's just the title itself that in my brain I'm like, they're not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even talk about Ra's al Ghul in the second movie. They literally just, it's Heath Ledger,
They
Joker,
don't too
just
much,
crushed
no.
it.
Well, no.
They bring Ra's al Ghul back in,
with Bane. That's right.
in Dark Knight Rises, in the
That's
third
right.
one.
That's right, yeah.
And that's why I'm like, there's a large disconnect between the first and the second one. Man, Top Gun to Top Gun Maverick, I still don't know. I don't know a better sequel. If you're listening and you've seen both and you know a better first and sequel combination, Matt Kelly, you're a movie buff. If you're out there, and we'll tag him. We'll call him out. If you know, we'd love to hear it, and I'd love to see it because I want to. Because I think I talked about this many episodes ago. Maybe when I first saw it, I went and saw Top Gun Maverick after I saw the music video, which we talked about in the VMA episode. Which once this airs will be 2 weeks prior
to it. Yeah.
No,
I think 3, but
it's like within the month. Okay,
you guys will get it.
That is one time, and you're like, do music videos matter anymore?
Right.
That music video, and I am such a huge Lady Gaga fan, made me watch the original and then go see the sequel. And then I took my mother to see the sequel. So it's the second movie I've ever seen in the theater just twice while it was in the theater. The first one was The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, which I still rave about.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for the second one that's coming out with Lady Gaga. I mean,
fully I do. And Lady Gaga again.
In that one.
Why not? Yeah.
Yep. So I'm pretty stoked. I mean, I still think, and again, we usually bring up a lot of things we bring up in past episodes, but I think we've talked about the Joker with Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and comparing with Joaquin Phoenix, like, and then
they're just incomparable.
They all
they all stand in their own league.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love Heath's Joker for certain reasons. I love Joaquin Phoenix for a certain reason. I love Jack Nicholson for his reasons too. I mean, I mean, if you had to pick one, I would. It depends on the era too. I mean, I think
it depends on the age of like the kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heath just brought it to another level with the psychotic portion where Jack Nicholson brought the comedic side, and then I think Joaquin kind of had a little bit of both in there. Like, he had some comedic, he had some dark side, but then he brought the mental health part in. That's where he kind of.
I felt like the movie, like, it was almost. This might hit people the wrong way, but I feel like it was almost like a propaganda for raising mental health awareness. Which, hey, I am all for it, and that is one of the reasons why I said, "Hey, this is my favorite movie because people need to see this."
Yeah,
I showed it to my parents, and they were like, "It was too dark for me," but they were just also preconditioned into the previous Jokers of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, where they were more fun,
right,
and more like, the things that they did that were not great, it was like made light of, rather than the Joker was like, he murdered those 3 guys in the train station, and then he went into the random bathroom and just danced.
Yeah.
And that scene in itself is like, I don't know. For me, I just thought it was really poetic.
Yeah. Like I said, I think all 3 characters have their, pros and cons, which I think, and nobody tries to step on each other's toes either. Like you're not seeing somebody trying to copy their Joker character. Everybody has their version, which is cool.
Well, I can't open my app because my phone is getting too hot. Let me sit over here in the shade for a second.
And then we'll get back to some 90s stuff.
Yeah, the next one was kind of weird. It was talking about, not weird, but it was talking about Warner Brothers, which I knew.
Okay. Looney Tunes type stuff? Okay.
They were Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Come on. They were like 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, all those. I mean, they were pretty big. They were pretty big and not as big now. But like, yeah, I mean, I would say, the Warner Brothers.
They did Space Jam. Come on.
Let's talk about that for a sec.
Let's talk about it for a second.
The OG Space Jam. I mean, I started getting Little Man into that, and he wants to continue watching that. I haven't shown the LeBron one, though, and I have never seen it. I don't want to see it. Because I don't think it's going to live up to the hype.
Yeah,
and I don't care who
educate him on what's right in the world.
This is the one you're supposed to see.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
you don't see that whoopsie that they put out.
It's called good parenting, and he's doing it right here. I love that story so. And again, it's the first time I've heard that.
I am a fan of LeBron. I've actually got, and we were talking about the Air movie. We'll get into that for a sec because we got that in before with our mock episode. We'll talk about that for a sec. But here's the thing. I've come to the conclusion with this on my end of the debate with the LeBron and Michael thing. Michael is the GOAT, but LeBron has had the best career overall with stats and everything. Because, with points and, championship, he's pretty much done the full field of it. But when you're talking about GOAT status, I think you cannot beat Michael's achievements. I think with LeBron, with him being in there from the age of like 18, 19 and what he's accomplished over a 20 season, career is amazing. I will give him that, but I don't think he's on the same level as a GOAT status and like with champ, because, Jordan went championship, retire, came back, lost, but we don't talk about that. Then repeat. No, did he? Yeah, when he came back, he lost that year. He came back. So then the next year, that's when they went on the second repeat of championship. 2 3-peats. And that has rarely been done other than, I think Golden State has done a little. They've only got 4, but they haven't done like a 2 3-peat type of thing. Golden State is almost on the same level because they've beaten, I think, the Bulls 72-10 record, I think. So I mean, there have been people that have come close, but nobody comes close to the 90s Bulls. Speaking of 90s, there you go. 90s Bulls. I mean, if you weren't a Bulls fan back in the 90s, come on, man.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's on the list. I mean, we're only at number 5 out of 15.
Right. So,
if it's not, we will pick something to dismiss.
We're rushing that up in this list. So, 90s Bulls. I mean, I mean, again, I was a Michael Jordan fan back then. And, I watched everything Michael Jordan, like my brother was doing back then. He was everything Kobe Bryant. And I was a big Michael Jordan fan. I got the merch. I got the basketball stuff. I had the jerseys and, everything.
So Easter egg time.
I wanted to be like Mike.
Let's talk about CCH levels.
There you go. Let's go. We haven't done that in a while. Let's do it.
Confidence.
Before we get into it, let's explain what CCH levels are for people who have not tuned in to the fact when we were doing it the last time. Let's quickly explain it real quick.
Confidence, cockiness, humbleness, or humility. So, for me as a child, I always thought Michael Jordan was just the it guy and nobody could touch him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because of the way he carried himself, because of his humility. He was cocky and confident. And he carried those three so well balanced. I can't speak to Kobe Bryant because I didn't pay attention to basketball that much. I just knew how much you loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't hear about Kobe being arrogant. So
we didn't really hear too much about it until, after he was out of the NBA and like a little bit more after his passing, of like how he really was around with, because a lot of the debate is the fact that Jordan and Kobe had the same mindset when it came to basketball. Like they would do anything to win, and they would be pumping up their teammates to be like, hey, I'm trying to get the whole team to be on this level and you're down here. So they're trying to like, well, dude, why don't you come out and party with us tonight? You're like, I'm going to the gym tomorrow morning.
And he's like, I'm not partying.
He's like, well, okay, I'll go out with you tonight.
I'm living to work.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, well, all right, I'll go out with you tonight. Thing is, I go out with you tonight. You're getting up at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow morning to get with me to the gym. And that's what he would do. He'd like, I'll go out with you. And he called his teammates at 5:30 in the morning. Like, what are you calling me for? Like, going to the gym. I had fun with you. Now you're having fun with me.
Get up.
Yeah. So that was his mindset. Like, he would always be thinking, how do I improve my game and how do I improve my teammates to get on the same level as me in order to get to where I need to go? That's the same mindset that what Jordan was always about. And if he had to do it in a kind of a way, and I think in his documentary, The Last Dance, he's like, if that's the way, that's just the way I played the game. If it people off, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I played the game. And he got emotional during it. He had to cut the scene off because he got so emotional. He's like, that's just the way I played the game. And if people didn't like it, I'm sorry. That's just the way I was, just determined to win, and I would do anything at any cost to win.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't pay attention to basketball like that, but like as far as LeBron goes, I just hear stats and about how good he is and how he's King James.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him on the humility level where he's like not being arrogant. So that's why I'm kind of like, he's down here for me.
He's definitely got like a different era to him where
now, because he's older.
Yeah. So Kobe came in that era where he was just like getting out of like the Jordan era and all those guys. So he learned from the top guys like that, where LeBron, like, he was coming into with Kobe and everybody. So it was a different game. And again, not saying that he is isn't a great basketball player. Amazing stats. He can do a lot for what his stature is at his position, but I just don't think he has the same mind. I don't think he's on the same mental mind state that Jordan and Kobe were. I'll say that he has a determination to win, but I don't think he has the full mental. What's the thing?
Capacity?
The mental fortitude.
Sure.
Yeah. To really tackle in how Jordan and Kobe saw the game.
Let's be fair and throw him like a little credit, like the way of the world with social media and like
that too.
Being super you have to be present all the time. I was just talking with a photographer friend of mine last night, and this is going to air like a month after the fact, but I was like, I don't self-promote, like, and we've talked about how like I don't promote my dance stuff. I just don't. I'm just like, hey, you want to dance, and I would love to help you. But there's so many people out there that promote themselves and they get photographers, and they're like, they have to do this and that and the other. And maybe that's where I'm failing, because I'm not getting good with the times. Maybe I'm old before I'm old, or maybe I'm just old. I don't know. But I think that LeBron, this conversation is so hard because like you can throw Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James in the same era in the 90s and then try to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And then what teams are they playing for? Different, right? Because Kobe, I know he was with the Lakers forever. And I know
Jordan,
Michael
forever.
Bulls
forever.
And LeBron jumped around a little bit.
Cavaliers, Miami.
He was with the Heat.
Back to the Cavaliers, and now Lakers.
Yeah. So if LeBron found a team that he settled in with and was like, this is my team. Like, what if he was with the Celtics all this time? Jason Tatum would be somewhere else.
And I think the era right now, it's all about people ganging up to just win a championship. It's not like, and again, if people want to, debate, write in the comments. But this is how I feel. I feel today's players just want to be on the team that's winning the championship so they can get a championship. They're not going to be like, hey, I have the team that I have. How do I make my team better so I can get mines?
Well, everyone's chasing money, and
that too.
And the Lakers are just that it team that's like, we're just going to capture everyone. And Bill Burr talks about it all the time.
Mm-hmm. So it's just more about like building super teams now, and trying to just, hey, we want to get our friends on here, we want to do this and that, like, but nobody wants to compete and say like, hey, I know he's a great basketball player, I want to compete against him, instead of being like, I want him on my team. But that's not a bad thing, but I feel it's more of like there's less competition and more people saying like, hey, let's all get on one team so we can just win everything.
Yeah.
Where Jordan, he could have easily went to, if it was in this era, Jordan could have easily went to the Detroit Pistons, who was kicking his for a couple years. He's like, well, if I can't beat him, join him, right? But he wanted to say like, hey, I'm getting my every year by this Piston team. I'm a little small. I need to start bulking up. He was in the gym lifting weights. He's like, I got to get bigger because these guys are just nailing it to me whenever I get in the paint. He went into the summer season, bulked up, and the team got better, and they finally beat Detroit.
I just wish I could be a fly on the wall in some of those locker room meetings after people lose, where they're just like, what the f*** are you doing?
Yeah. I would love it too.
Because these leaders that the team around them is like, oh, well, everyone's only banking on us because of the leader. And the leader's like, I'm here to lead because I want to help you step up.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, Doncic, right? From Nuggets?
Yeah, Luka.
No.
Oh, no, yeah. Jovic.
Yeah. Yeah, from the Nuggets.
Yeah.
I mean, he just seemed like the guy that was just like, hey, I'm here to do good. Like everyone else, like
he's going to be a threat on that team.
He didn't,
and they're a young team too.
He just didn't seem like the type that looked around and was like, pick up your
whoopsie. Mm-hmm.
He just was like, I'm doing my job, do yours. Like,
yeah,
subtly.
Yeah, I mean, he's not.
Whereas
he's not the leader.
You see it from the other leaders of other teams, who are like they're looking around. Luka Doncic is the Mavericks, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like he is trying to do everyone else's job, and everyone else around him is just kind of like, dude, we're supposed to be working together. And Shaq even said, like, dude, a one-man team doesn't win the championships.
And Jordan learned that too. He used to be the number one, hey, I got to do everything. But he quickly realized after his first couple of years of being in there, I got to start working with the team. I got to start trusting my teammates, because he wouldn't trust his teammates. He's like, and Kobe was the same way. Like you can't shoot. Why am I going to pass you the ball? Understandable. But like Jordan had to realize he had to trust his teammates.
And then he had to go shoot a movie where it was like, oh, I got to toss this grenade out of this little hole here. And then it was like, and then he threw it, and then he was the hero. And it was just such a shot at him, literally. And I was like, I don't even know basketball, but I know you can't do that on the court.
Okay, foul.
Okay, foul. All right, let's get on with this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that the phone's like, it's not too hot. But the next one says, Warner Brothers Studios store thrived. Okay.
We went through a little bit of that, but yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to number 6. Number 6, Microsoft saved Apple from bankruptcy. Curious. Let's see what they say about that. A true leader, Bill Gates, announced days before Apple would have filed for bankruptcy that Microsoft would supply a $150 million investment. Jobs told the crowd, we have to let go of the notion that for Apple to win, Microsoft has to lose. Kind of curious, because at this point, I mean, it looks like Apple's in the lead decades later.
Yeah.
But maybe in the 90s, Bill Gates was just like, hey, I'm going to be nice. And Steve Jobs was just like, hey, I'm Apple, and you can kiss my butt.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what that reads to me. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
If you feel
might
differently.
Be a little bit out of our pay grade.
Oh, look, number 7, Tamagotchis were America's pet.
There you go.
Did you feed your Tamagotchi? These digital pets.
I didn't. It fucking died.
And it died. These digital pets took America by storm in 1997, playing off of childhood nostalgia. You can still get your hands on one today.
Wow.
Number 8, Friends. The
Never
show Friends.
Never watched
I
it.
know you didn't. I've watched
So
it.
I really can't say too much about it.
It transcends the mid to late 90s into the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I know that I've mentioned it to you before, and you're like,
I would even say, I mean, if you weren't a Friends person, I think one of the bigger things with that was like Boy Meets World.
I mean, the biggest thing that came out of Friends was Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, of course.
Serious.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I just read something. Adam Sandler sends her gifts on Mother's Day every year because she has like complications getting pregnant.
Wow.
And I know that's a sensitive topic, so I'm not joking about it. It's just
it's a nice gesture.
It's something that I read.
Another reason why to love Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and people crap on him all the time, and I was just like, he's a better person than everyone thinks, right?
Right.
And Jennifer Aston.
I mean, you ain't wrong about it.
Jennifer Aniston, good for you for looking as great as you do in the age that you are. Okay. Number 9. Some Disney classics were born. Okay. Humor me. Disney created some of the biggest: Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, and Aladdin. They talked about the role of Genie in Aladdin was played by Robin Williams. Okay. That is my childhood. My favorite Disney movie ever is The Lion King. And Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin are really close seconds. Toy Story is like, it's third, but I don't want to call it third because I love Toy Story so much. How about you? What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I mean, if not a little, off on numbers, but I'm right there with all those. I mean, I was big on Aladdin, big on Lion King, Toy Story. I mean, even now, Little Tone is a big Toy Story fan, big Lion King fan. I mean, he just had a Lion King party, so that kind of brings it all into perspective.
Perfect.
But I haven't showed him Aladdin yet. That's the next step. I'm gonna get him to watch Aladdin, see how he feels. But yeah, I mean, just being able to see a lot of those old Disney movies with him and kind of replaying them. They're like, oh, I remember watching this and doing that because, you got Little Mermaid and all those other classics, so.
It's tough to gauge now, especially 30 years removed, where it's like, hey, is this right for my kid right now at this time?
Yeah.
Because like I think about Lion King and I'm like, okay, these are animals. So like kids are going to be like, oh, they're animals. They're not going to really perceive like the personification of like they're translating what would happen between human beings kind of thing. Like the love life, the hatred, the family dynamic kind of thing. They're not going to see that early on. They're just going to be like, oh, lions, hyenas, animals. And Aladdin, I feel like is like, you need to be a little bit older, and Beauty and the Beast, I think you need to be a little bit older to really like be okay with it because there's like a lot of dark stuff that happens in both.
Yeah.
Like, especially Beauty and the Beast with like they lock up Belle's dad kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the town's like trying to lock up and it's like I don't think Little Tone can be like.
And again, more of like hatred towards the Beast and everything. And so I mean it's a little bit more like, oh, what are they doing here? Like you kind of have to like lie a little bit, like, oh, they're just not being
and that's where nice. It's like you could wait a year or two and then let them see it and then be like, that's what it was in 1991, 3 or 5, right?
But yeah, I mean, those classic Disney movies were a thing for sure. I mean, I think a lot of people can attest that they were like, everybody has those classics that they can remember.
Yeah, my first Disney movie that I saw was The Little Mermaid, and I was like young. I was like, I think it came out in 88, maybe. And when I saw it, I was like 3 or 4. And then I watched it again when I was in my 20s or 30s. And then I was like, oh my God, this is the story that they told. And I perceived it way differently.
Especially watching a lot of those now. It's like, oh, they got away with a lot of stuff back then.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of tolerance these days.
Right.
And that's fine.
You didn't have to fact check a whole bunch of stuff like you do today.
Number 10. Okay, so this is going to be quick because you can't really speak to this. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was published. I mean, this is the late 90s, and it transcended into...
It was the 90s that Harry Potter started?
The first book was released when we were in middle school. So, yeah.
Okay.
It was...
I thought it was more closer in the 2000s.
So it's because the movies came out in the early
Okay,
2000s,
okay.
and
Makes sense
And
then.
the final movie came out in, let's see,
I never really read books unless I had to. So
same,
same.
our friend who was a super Harry Potter fan had just graduated high school in 11, and we took him to see the last Harry Potter movie in 2011. All right, let's number 11. 90s streetwear was all about FUBU.
I remember my first set, or even Lee Pipes.
Dude,
but I
Lee
did have,
Pipes were mine, and go ahead, you first.
Yeah,
you first.
I had a FUBU shirt, but then mixing that with the Lee Pipes, I'm like, I'm wearing this every day. Like,
Dude, it was the only way that we could.
It was my first
try.
set. It was my first set of like baggy pants because I was a nerd back then. I would be wearing like the corrected type of like regular fit stuff. I never really like was able to get into like the baggy attire.
So here's what they did, and I'm gonna say this before I read it in case I'm just guessing really well. So when we were in late elementary, early middle school in 97 and 98, pants started getting a little less tight. And I'm not talking bell bottoms for girls. I'm talking about, hey, I'm a dude and look at how thick my legs are, but they're not.
Like, look how thick my legs are. But then again, I have chicken legs.
Yeah. It's like I drive a big truck and I have a tiny bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, wow.
Big ego, tiny self-esteem.
Seriously.
I just made that up off the spot. That's pretty good.
That was but in that era, like, because when we were in middle school going to the mall, it was the high schoolers and the college kids were wearing the UFO pants, where it was like, how many inches is the diameter of your pants? Because around your shoes would be
literally look like a lampshade in a way.
It would be 4 feet, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they're saying 52, 54, I mean, it's like gauges in your ears. Oh, wow. The lower the number gets, the more aggressive you are.
Yeah.
The larger the diameter, and for those of you that don't know diameter, it's circle, straight across, side to side, through the center. That's the measure point of the UFOs. When they say 55 inches, that's almost 5 feet wrapped around each shoe.
Yep.
And these dudes were walking through the mall like, yeah, check me out. I'm so super cool.
And I think more of like the diameter kind of like determine what type of like circle of what kind of clique you were into. Like, because I think like a lot of like the goth people had like the big diameter, but then if you were like the popular people, like you had the smaller diameter, but it was more like fashiony. But like when you were like goth or like type of like rocker,
well, we're going to that extreme where it's like it was super huge, and that's where the gauges were like, hey, we've got these things in our ears that are super huge.
You kind of you were put into certain, not cliques, but like you knew like where you fit in the spectrum of friends within like high school, middle school, and everything.
Yeah, so Anthony and I were just trying to be a little bit cool, so we got these Lee Pipe pants that
I got mine in 5th grade. I remember them to the day, and I wore them the first day. I'm like, I am cool, but I really wasn't.
I got mine in 6th, and I was like, okay, I'm fine. And in that time too, there was this fad where you would get these woven belts, and you'd loop them around, but you let the remainder of the belt loop down.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yep, that was a thing.
Yeah, I did that.
Uh-huh.
But then I'd wear like a nice, collared top
shirt. Yeah.
And be like, hey, I'm trying to be cool, but I'm also sophisticated. Who wants to hang out with me? Nobody. Except for this guy. Because we got in trouble together. Hence, one set, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one.
To the fact that, you were saying with the collar shirt and then the Lee Pipes, like, okay, my SAT score at top was like a 1400, but then below was like 600. I mean, Stupid, I know.
No, it's like, oh, I got a 1400 on my SATs. Where my friends at? I got no social circle. Yeah. Life is all in the balance, people.
Yep.
90s streetwear, all about FUBU. Okay, yeah, we just talked about. We literally went from FUBU straight to...
I wore more Lee pipes and everything than FUBU, but I had a FUBU shirt.
I had a couple of Janko jeans.
I had Janko. I think I had a pair of Janko jeans that, like, after buying the Lee, because I think Lee pipes had the first, and then Janko came out, and then FUBU and all that stuff. So I had the name brands of the 90s, but I only had like one or something of each.
Here you go. This is gonna get them. America loved Beanie Babies.
Ooh, I was a big fan of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
So my parents basically were like,
whoopsie,
all that nonsense.
My son ain't gonna be
whoopsie.
good. Oh man.
Seriously.
No, our parents were okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have a whole bunch of them, but I had a decent amount that I'm like, you had a small little collection of them.
You freaking kidding me? Not a dry towel anymore.
Whoopsie.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right.
Next one?
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
I mean, Beanie Babies, if you know them, you know them. If you don't, I didn't live them.
How many Beanie Babies did you have? Leave it in the comments. I think I had maybe like 5.
Wow, this one's really going to hit. Everyone listen to Now That's What I Call Music.
Okay, yeah.
Now CDs, come on,
yeah, the
man.
Now CDs, yeah.
And this, we were kind of talking about this on the VMA episode.
Yeah.
That we talked about where music videos didn't even matter. Going out and buying CDs when the new Now CDs dropped.
Like the compilation CDs. You had like
people, and that's the thing, is you didn't have to get a CD with like one artist with all of their stuff where you didn't care about half of it. You got the compilation of the hits.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you heard on the radio, it was all right there, and that's where they made their money.
Yep.
It was perfect. I mean,
what's the equivalent now? Like Kids Bop? I mean, it's almost like it's a kid's version of the hits.
I wouldn't be surprised if they own it, and I'm not looking it up right now because my phone is dying in the heat. I'm trying to put it in the shade.
I'll try it, but I would say that's probably almost the equivalent. I would not be
surprised if the people that started Now That's What I Call Music own Kids Bop.
I would put my money
because
on that.
It's I feel like they transitioned from like, okay, well, now that the people that are preteens and teenagers can just buy singles, which we talked about on the VMA episode, let's market towards the kids and let's do kid versions.
I'm saying, who owns Kids Bop?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Who is the owner of Kids Bop? Kids Bop is owned by Concord Bicycle Music. So, negative.
Well, we have to see if Concord Bicycle Music
is correlated to them.
Now That's What I Call Music.
Kids Bop.
And I'm only saying that because their album covers looked very similar.
Yeah, but we'll have to get more. We'll have to do a little bit more
digging on that one.
But yeah, that was a good kind of thing. But
all right, I got the last two right here, and they're fun.
Let's do it. This has been fun.
This was your idea, man. So fun on your end.
Hey.
Wow. Number 14, the Macarena became a movement. Okay, so from a dancer's perspective, absolutely.
That was you.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, I could do it, but I'm not going to be up front doing it, you know?
You know what? It was, and this is where I struggle as a dance instructor, where I try to teach more complex movement. And then I have students coming into class and they're like, "Did you see this latest TikTok? Look at how fun this is." And it's the very simplest thing. And I'm like, I think I said this before. I said this before where I went in to teach a class like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And they were like, "You know how to do the Bernie?" I was like, "Yeah, that was only built for people that don't know how to dance." And they were like, "Wow, that was rude." I'm like, I'm just being honest.
Just being honest.
You're in a dance class, right?
Yeah. I think I've been meaning to. I'm not sure if we went into that, but like, how do you feel as a dancer? I'm trying to say, because this is like a dance type of thing here, so I'll put you on this. Like, what do you feel about a lot of the? I think we probably went into it before, but we'll say it again. What do you feel about like a lot of these TikTok dances, and then people saying like, "Oh, well, I can do this, so I'm a dancer," but like, I don't know. Is it kind of like, do you see that and you're like, you know, I mean, they're just following a trend. They're not actually dancers. You're just following a trend.
So I'm going to answer by saying number 15 is Google made our lives a lot easier. Duh. Search engine. Okay.
Of course.
Now, to answer your question, I feel like TikTok is on par with how society is trying to eliminate middle class. And it's like, you're either high class or low class. TikTok is very like, you're either a great dancer or you're just down here having fun. You're either super serious about what you do or you're just doing it for fun. There's like people like me that I'm like, I'm serious, but I also do it for fun.
Right. And I'm not knocking anybody that does like the TikTok dance or anything. You're doing it for fun. That's cool. That's all thing. But I'm trying to think of like a like coming from an actual dancer, like how do they feel about that? Of like, not saying you have to feel about it in a bad way, but like, you know, like I'm trying to see in like in the music way of how certain things I'm trying to compare it, but like as a dancer, like do you look down on those people? Not that, but like do you feel like I mean, I know I can do that, that's an easy dance, but that's not dancing.
No, the thing is,
that's just like, oh, follow this move, and oh, you like, but
I think what's really perplexing right now is how many dancers who have worked so hard to gain the professionalism that they're at because of the hard work that they put in, and they dance for their lives.
I know where you're getting at.
On the regular, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent you the video where it's like, you have these 4 dancers, 200%, 100%, 50%, and 10%. And what really struck me was how many people raved about the 10%er over here that was like, I'm just doing this casually because I ain't that serious about it. And that to me is like, I'm not calling you lower class. I'm saying you have a gift because you know how to make dancing look fun in a way that is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I have so much super respect for these people that are 200 and 100%ers because they have worked their entire lives to be at the level that they're at.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like I'm in the 50% range where I'm like, because I used to be in the 100% range and then I wasn't booking jobs because I was trying too hard. So it was just a matter of the times where now it's going this way towards the 10%er, where it's like, hey, if you can look great, not putting forth effort, but being like, hey, I'm living my best life, that is so attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what's really perplexing for me. I shouldn't say perplexing. That's not the word because I'm not trying to, jeez, what's the word I'm looking for? Disrespect.
Yeah.
You know, anyone that is watching TikToks, posting TikToks, and
yeah, you're having fun.
You're having fun. But there are people in the dance community that are very like, hey, we've worked to get here and here, and we're not getting booked for work because we're busy working our hardest, and you're hiring these people that just they look cute.
Right. And it's almost like with TikTok, like, you know, on the same aspect, you know, you're talking about like people who have been doing dance like seriously for years, but then you have like these, I say this loosely, like kids or like people that are following the trends. Like the biggest thing right now is that Ashley thing, that Ashley dance. So like, you know, people who don't necessarily dance like professionally like you or like have like a thing for it, they just go on there and do this, they go viral and they get like all this success. Now virality is a big type of thing because it's not long term, it's only temporary, but like the thing is like you get that type of audience, but you've been working so hard to really be a professional
if you go viral
dancer
and you get that level of exposure, it can offset your career to high levels,
right?
Like that goes without saying,
right?
But
my meaning behind it was the fact that like you're trying to go without doing the trends to really get yourself out there. But then you see these other people that are just following the trends and they get popularity, but they're not doing it to really escalate their career. They're just doing like, oh, I got like 500,000 likes and I'm getting all these things. But like, you would really advance from something like that, because then you get a whole new audience of people that actually see your work, like, oh, this guy is legit, I'm gonna actually follow him. Where somebody who's just doing it to get a viral video is like, you know,
it's
almost like the musician type of thing. Like, you know, we work so hard to make music and put music out there, but then, you know, X person just puts out like a trend thing and they get virality, and then, you know, somebody like me is working so hard and, you know, to really gain an audience, where, you know, this person just puts out a little something and it goes viral. But again, you really can't look at virality as like popularity. It's because it's very short term unless you know how to capitalize off that virality, I think.
Well, and
Virality, however you want to say it.
I know what you're saying. I think it too is, I've seen people that, and this is with companies, businesses, people that get super big, super fast, they die off quickly. It's a matter of long-term growth and saying, hey, I'm good right now. Now what? Now what? Now what? It's careful planning for longevity.
Yeah.
That's what works. You know, for me, I can't say I'm either of them, because I do my own thing and I have the respect of a short community of dancers that are like, he's his own person and there's nobody like him. And it's not lucrative, but like, I don't want to sell myself out either.
Right.
I don't want to sell myself out and be like, oh, I have to do this popular thing to gain popularity to increase my financial situation. I'd rather be like, hey, I'm a little poor and I'm doing my own thing. I interpret music this way. This is the movement that I present, and I have a small following of people that trust me. And that's what I live for. That's how I live.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
Yeah, this has been an awesome episode. I think we did really well with you know, reliving the 90s. And again, if you guys have any, you know, good 90s memories, or like any of the topics that we covered, if you want to, you know, add on to it, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you're listening on Spotify, you know, I don't think you can't really comment on that, but send us a message on our social medias,
Email.
you know, an email. You know, we've been having fun talking about this stuff. We want to hear from you guys. So this has been fun. You know, and again, I think we were going to have something on the Patreon about something, but we didn't have the audio for it. But, you know,
we're going to have something on the Patreon for that non-audio thing.
We have
my idea. I have it. It's there.
We'll have
it's
something
coming
for the Patreon people. So sign up for the free account, and, you know, we'll be sending you guys some emails. That's patreon.com/onesetpod. Oneset at onesetpod@gmail.com. Hit us up, onesetpod, all on social media. Like, subscribe on YouTube, all that other fun. Whoopsie.
Anything else?
This has been One Set.
All right. Cheers, man.